Sneak dissing, we don't see the competition. I drop off a ransom note that your art is missing, nigga.
Pay us in full with the money, or she gon' get her fingers clipped off like Lil Sonny,
MRecktv.
Yo, we always gonna be best friends, man. You hear something?
Have you guys heard of StreamBoss? It's a new IPTV provider that gives you over 5,000 channels for only $20 a month.
Oh, cool!
$20 for live TV, local TV, movies, TV shows, pay-per-views, and so much more.
Huh? What?
If you have a Fire Stick, smart TV, or streaming device, then head on over to thestreamboss.com to begin your setup process.
MRecktv breaking news.
New York legislation provides for indefinite detention of unvaccinated at governor's whim. In the next legislative session beginning January 5, 2022, the New York Senate and Assembly could vote on a bill that would grant permissions to remove and detain cases, contacts, carriers, or anyone suspected of presenting a significant threat to public health and remove them from public life on an indefinite basis. Bill A-416 presents a serious risk to the basic liberties of all Americans in the state of New York, including their right to choose whether or not to receive medical treatment and vaccinations related to thus far undetermined contagious diseases. The bill gives the governor of New York, his or her delegates, including but not limited to the commissioner and heads of local health departments, the right to remove and detain any individuals or groups of people through issuing a single order. The orders only have to include the individual's names or reasonably specific descriptions of the individuals or groups. The department can decide to hold a person or group of people in a medical facility or any other they deem appropriate. The language is purposefully vague. Though the bill attempts to state that no one shall be held for more than 60 days, the language allows for court orders to waive this maximum detention time. After 60 days, the court is allowed an additional 90 days to consider the detention of an individual, a cycle that can last indefinitely per the opinion of the department. It goes on to state that the bill will require an individual who has been exposed to or infected by a contagious disease to complete an appropriate, prescribed course of treatment, preventive medication, or vaccination, essentially giving the government the right to detain anyone they want and forcibly vaccinate them. As the language of the bill refers to individuals or groups who potentially pose a threat, the bill is a preemptive strike against anyone that the department believes has the capacity to pose a threat in the future, such as those refusing to receive the COVID-19 vaccination. There is no explicit reference to what types of contagious diseases qualify a person to be removed from public life, detained in a facility, and forced into medical treatment and vaccination. Anyone can technically be held in isolation until they are deemed non-contagious, which would also raise questions over whether those carrying HIV/AIDS could be released back into society. The bill has received an overwhelmingly negative response on the New York Senate website. Commenters have stated that this is disturbing and sets up a terrible precedent for future law. The governor can basically detain whoever he/she likes on the basis of scanty evidence. This is un-American. It reminiscent of the Soviet Union locking up political opponents on the basis that they were mentally unstable. We cannot allow this in our state. This is a violation of fundamental human rights. The government should be working for the people, not locking them up without cause. Others have noted the similarities between this bill and the Australian response to COVID-19. Australia has built a number of COVID quarantine facilities that can hold thousands of people at any given time. The language of Bill A-416 can guarantee that Americans, whether they test positive for COVID or any other diseases, are held indefinitely at such facilities. Assembly Bill A-416 relates to the removal of cases, contacts and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. as reported. Marjorie Taylor Greene falsely claims New York passed bill to forcibly vaccinate people. New York legislators could pass a bill that allows unvaccinated individuals to be detained or forcibly inoculated, but it hasn't passed either of the chambers, as Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene claimed. Speaking at MRecktv on Sunday, Greene told attendees at the New York House passed a bill that allows for unvaccinated people deemed a danger to society could be detained. Greene said the government would have a hell of a time if they want to hold me down and give me a vaccine, and received cheers and applause when she announced she was unvaccinated. Things are getting to a place where they shouldn't be, Greene said. When asked for comment about Greene's claim that New York passed a bill that allowed for unvaccinated people to be detained, Nick Dyer, a spokesperson for Greene, sent Newsweek a tweet from the legislator that linked to a National Post story about Bill A416. Assemblymember N. Nick Perry introduced the bill at the beginning of the year, and Greene is correct that it would allow the governor or their delegee to detain people who are deemed to pose an imminent and significant threat to public health. However, she's incorrect that it passed any chamber of the New York legislature. The bill is still being held in committee and has not had a vote in the Assembly or the state Senate. If a person needs to be detained more than 3 business days and requests release, the governor or their delegee must ask for a court order authorizing a longer detention. Absent a court order, a person cannot be detained more than 5 days after their request for release. People cannot be held for more than 60 days without a court order, according to the bill. However, it leaves open the possibility of the government requesting additional court orders to extend the detention period. To be considered for detention, a person must be a confirmed case, close contact, carrier or suspected case of a contagious disease threat. People may not be detained after the department determines they're no longer contagious. The bill also grants the governor or their delegee power to issue and seek enforcement of other orders that they determine are necessary to prevent dissemination or transmission of contagious diseases or other illnesses. This includes requiring people who were exposed or infected by a contagious disease to complete an appropriate, prescribed course of treatment, preventative medication, or vaccination. This is the 4th time Perry's introduced legislation that would allow the government to detain people who pose a threat to public health. In a statement in January, he said the bill was originally introduced to address public health concerns when Ebola was spreading. He said he believes the Constitution is sacred and there was no intent or plan to take away or violate liberties Americans are entitled to under our Constitution. I am convinced that most smart Americans, faced with the deadly consequences of having a person who is a carrier of a very deadly virus roaming freely through any community, would support public action to contain such a person from contaminating and potentially bringing certain death to persons they have contact with, Perry said. The legislator noted that the bill hasn't been pushed for passage because Ebola is no longer a threat. However, he said a deadly pandemic is still a real threat and there may be a need in the future to protect people from those carrying a very deadly and transmissible virus. The bill garnered significant attention earlier in the year as people homed in on it as an authoritarian conspiracy. Perry said he received threats over it, telling Politico he thought he would need Secret Service protection. Many have commented on the legislation that they opposed the measure, with one person saying it was going a little too far even though they support vaccines and mask wearing. Some called it barbaric, tyrannical, and anti-American, and some commented that they would move if it passed. It's unclear where Greene got her information that it already passed the Assembly and was headed to the state Senate for a vote.
MRecktv breaking news.
You hear something?
Have you guys heard of StreamBoss? It's a new IPTV provider that gives you over 5,000 channels for only $20 a month.
Oh, cool!
$20 for live TV, local TV, movies, TV shows, pay-per-views, and so much more.
Huh? What?
If you have a Fire Stick, smart TV, or streaming device, then head on over to thestreamboss.com to begin your setup process.
Yo, we always gonna be best friends, man.
How you feel though?
Yeah, nigga, that's how I feel.
Alright, man, drop your location, man.
Hey, homie, where you at, man? Drop that location, man. I'm about to pull up on you. Drop my location? Nigga, I'm about to send my addy right now, nigga. I'm about to... Alright, pull up.
No, you're the plug and such. You a joke's bound to happen if you slipping or you lacking. I'm gripping on the matching, ready for the action. Shots to make you break dance and have you do a backspin. I got more kicks than karate flicks. My whole team pushing Maserati whips. You on IG liking thotty pics. Shorty pocket broke, but her body fixed. Peace, world. To promote your music or promote your business by placing an ad on MRecktv, contact MRecktv promo, MRecktv promo @gmail.com. Peace. Oh yeah, subscribe to MRecktv, youtube.com/MRecktv. I'm gone. MRecktv. It's got a music.